Good afternoon, everybody. This is Evan Rogers of Evan Rogers Law. Today's rant is about the judiciary and the governor. I swore an oath when I was admitted to practice, you can see it in back of me, that I would uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of New York. Unfortunately, the judiciary of the state of New York has failed totally to protect an entire class of people. This class of people are called petitioners, landlords, and owners of small buildings. And these are the people I represent, usually first or second generation immigrants that to fulfill the American dream, they bought a 2 or 3 or even a 4-family house, intending that they'd be a good landlord, the tenant would pay the rent, it would help with the mortgage, the taxes, the million other things that have to be paid. But what happened in in June of 2019, is the legislature and the governor, controlled by the Democratic Party, and I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to call them out because they deserve to be called out. They need to be called out. They passed a law with a name called Tenant Protection Act. Be careful of names. Names aren't always what they seem. This name of this law gives the tenants 90 days notice. So you serve a 90-day notice on a tenant. Lease is expired. What are you supposed to do when the lease is expired? You're supposed to move. You go to a movie. The movie's over. Do you stay there for a year? No. You leave. Or before the lease is up, you negotiate with the landlord for a new lease. This is not rocket science, okay? So the tenant gets a 90-day notice, doesn't move, doesn't pay your rent. Maybe it came to me in the fall of 2019 to start a holdover case. I served the appropriate notice. We started your court case. Let's say the tenant didn't answer. COVID happened. Court's closed up tight. Nothing can happen. I make a motion once they say they're going to open limited for what's called an inquest. I make that motion in December of 2020. I serve whatever notices in English and Spanish are required, even though the person speaks English probably better than I do. No date. Finally, I get a date a couple of weeks ago. What does the judge say on the Microsoft Teams? The purpose of this hearing is to see if the tenant wants a free lawyer. Well, guess what? The tenant was served papers. It says, call this phone number, you get a free lawyer. I don't know what to say. The judge then says to the free lawyer on the call from one of the legal aid groups, they're nice people, but have the tenant sign this little form and they get free till August 31. Doesn't matter if there's anything wrong with them or not. These people could be working, maybe bought a Range Rover, new TVs, nothing wrong with them at all. Check the box, you get till August 31. Meanwhile, the landlord, nothing coming in. I have clients owed $30,000, $40,000. I have commercial cases, $170,000 are owed. Nothing they can do. Now the judge says, well, Mr. Rogers, you didn't serve the new COVID declaration. I made my motion 9 months ago. There was no such thing as a COVID. Well, we can't hear your motion because you didn't do the new COVID declaration, which is the same as the old COVID declaration. It's a scam. The judiciary is abetting a scam. The judiciary has to have integrity. If they don't have integrity, why do we need them? Why do we need a judiciary with no integrity? That's their job. When the legislature says, we're going to discriminate against somebody, we're going to steal from them, we're going to rape them economically, it's their job to say, no, enough. It's their job to say, you know what, I'm going to show up in my courtroom and I'm going to hear these cases. That's their job. Supposedly on August 31, this will end. I'm not holding my breath.